Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inside Out with Sahas and Ali. We talk about mental health, challenge belief system, and push you to ask more whys to help you find the genius inside of you. Yes, I said genius because you are one. Welcome, Ali.
Hey guys, welcome back to our episode 5. We've made it this far. I'm really excited. We've actually had some really amazing conversations before. A lot more to come on board. And today's topic is something more special to Sahas and me. And obviously, it'll be important to a lot of you as well because most of you have been impacted. We'll be talking about mental health and the pandemic, how it's impacting everyone, how everyone's reacting to it, and what you can do to kind of navigate life better during these times.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think almost almost around the same time last year, like in February, this pandemic started, right? Like in
Mm-hmm.
terms of like we really got acquainted with something is happening somewhere, and don't even realize that we have already been almost a year into it, and how has it really affected our lives and the way that we work psychologically, emotionally, and everything has changed. What we used to do same
Mm-hmm.
time last year, it's not the same, man.
Yeah, no, it's actually amazing. Quarantine, not just sorry, COVID itself is 1 year old now. It's happy birthday, COVID. It's exactly been almost 1 year, and it's hard to like realize how life changed so fast, and we just got used to it. But they're obviously by getting used to it, like we had to adapt to certain things that we don't want to. For example, most of you know the gyms are closed. We can't go there anymore. We can't physically exercise as much. Some of us like to go out, have some drinks, or have a dinner party with our friends. We can't do that either. You can't really meet your friends anyways because you only have a certain amount of number of people you can have inside your house. Now, Quebec is putting a curfew, which is really interesting. They're actually putting a lot of fines on people that are leaving their homes after 8 p.m. Ontario is considering doing the same thing with the next few, I think we'll find out in the next few weeks. So, yeah, this has been a really crazy time. And I think it's time we discuss about it.
Yeah, also, I was just thinking about it yesterday that, the kind of scenario that we are in, actually, if you think about it, this has never happened ever since World War II. The kind of like the way the world has been affected and the way the lockdowns are happening, the way we have been hit by some invisible enemy, it's changed the whole world, man. I mean, the way that things are done right now, one is entirely it's a whole different world.
Mm-hmm.
So what I believe is thinking that we are going to go back to normal. I don't know what really normal is anymore. Like thinking about, like, a lot of people say that, oh, when the COVID is going to get over, when we get our lives, we are going to get back to our normal. Well, this is the fucking new normal. We have to start living around this. This is not going to go in, not in terms of like COVID might, I mean, who doesn't want the virus to go away? Yes, we do. But then again, the lifestyle, the kind of behavior that we have been evolved to, I think this is never going. There's no getting back to the basic again. It's a next phase which we really need to be prepared for, and that comes with mental health, fitness. Putting your mind into something which actually helps you to cope up with the situations that you are in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you say a really good point. What is even normal anymore? Like I can't remember going like thinking back in the old days. I can like it feels like it's been so far away that I'm more. This is seems so much more natural now, and it even though it shouldn't be, right? And some of you obviously have been suffering because, I mean, mentally it's been burdensome to a lot of people. Some people like the idea of working from home. They're fine, and that's okay. But majority of us, especially those who already have, let's say, they suffer from seasonal depressive disorder, and the winter times get them down, right? This would be an added burden on them. Now, not only just knowing, but now you can't even go to the gym anymore or you can't meet your friends. So I think it's important to consider and see things in a different perspective is that not to start seeing things as, oh, I can't wait for things to get back to normal, but more as how can I adapt and grow and become better during this time in case things take longer to go back to normal. I mean, I'm sure they will in the next few years. Until then, there's no point in suffering or putting unnecessary pain on yourself. It's more important to kind of accept it, adapt, and work around that.
Yeah, absolutely. I, I think, I mean, somewhere I believe that whatever that happens, there is never going back again to normal. It's always the next phase which is going to happen every
Mm-hmm.
single time for anything that you do in your life. So even if we think that after a couple of years the things are going to be normal and we hope that we get back to the basics, it's going to be a new normal. It's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
new phase, that because we might have already been evolved to that level. We are psychologically, I could say that our behaviors and everything would have been evolved to a certain level of the person that we would have become by that time. And I think the symptoms are already showing right now, the way that we have started behaving, the way we have started having communication uh, has also changed. I mean, people are more confined to their four walls at their houses. And I think somewhere that is bringing some different kind of mental health issues, which no one else but the person who is in that situation can only do something about it. Like, for example, if I know that most of my time goes by spending time at my home when I'm working, and work is going to be it's work from home kind of a situation, I have to build a routine around it. And that means not just doing physical stuff or the work stuff or anything, but also doing something for my mental health so that I'm sane. Because I don't know about I don't know about many people, but I think that people have challenges to even staying at home with their spouses for a very long time, and that has caused a lot of rate of divorces all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that we have to get acquainted to. But the best way is to have an intention to change and evolve in both the scenarios, like from not
Mm-hmm.
from your perspective but from the spouse perspective also. You both need to work together in this situation to help this relationship, this time, this phase to make better use of it. And best way is, like, for me, I consider that exercising is something which somebody is not doing from very long time have must implement in their routine now. What do you think?
100%. Like, even outside of the pandemic, I would always tell people, like, at least go for a walk a day, or at least, like, do something physical. I mean, it personally helps me a lot, and like, scientifically proven, it makes you feel good because it releases feel good chemicals in your brain. Now more than ever, it's so important to, especially if we have the freedom to go for a walk outside. Just go for a quick run, even if it's cold. Just go for a very quick run. Do some push-ups. Another thing I do want to say is that this is also a really good time to learn something new, some new skills, because, like you said, the new normal is not going to be the old normal. The new normal is going to be, yeah, you'll get your freedoms back. You'll be able to go out, but you'll still see the symptoms of the pandemic. You'll still see people wearing masks. You'll still see restrictions in certain times and limits in certain rooms and areas. I don't think there's ever going to be a time again in the future where we can just forget about everything. I think it's going to be like after 9/11. The new normal was extra security on the airports, right? Extra scan. You can't carry certain items anymore. So I think this is going to be very similar to that. We're going to get used to it, but it's not going to be an old classic feel, like, easy feeling, no issue, no restriction kind of a normal. Yes, the kids growing up in our generation will definitely feel that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also feel that, Ali, that I mean, we were dragged into this kind of a situation. Is it because the world wasn't ready for it? To be honest,
Mm-hmm.
none of the countries were, none of the governments were, nobody was ready for it, and we were like literally dragged into it. Like, I'm sure, uh, a lot of them, like the ones like people knew something would happen. There could be something like kind of a virus outbreak or something which can happen in the future, but didn't know when the future was going to happen. And that just happened already.
Mm-hmm.
And now more than ever, believe it or not, this is going to be a very, very crucial year for everyone, because you like I said, I touched a little upon saying that uh, war World War II, this is the time that we are actually fighting an invisible enemy. You will not know the kind of behavior, the kind of pattern, that if you don't evolve yourself, you don't know where we will be going. Things which are happening in the US, things which are happening in a lot of countries right now, I think somewhere it's also the result of how we have been evolved into this situation, this new thing. And I think, preparing yourself mentally in this year is going to be really crucial, because believe it or not, we're in a war time.
Mm-hmm.
I totally
100%,
believe
man. Like
in
100%, because we're actually, like you said, fighting the invisible enemy, right? And like anytime in a war, you have to be prepared.
that.
So, so let's talk about what we can do to actually welcome this new normal. What are some things we can start doing? So one thing I started picking up ever since the pandemic is that I started learning new skills, because one, it just makes me feel good that I'm doing something with my extra time. It keeps me busy. And yes, I'm not able to do all the things I enjoy, but knowing that at least I'm not wasting my time, or I'm like, slogging away in bed all day, that lifts my mood up. So new skills like um, YouTube, go on there, you can learn anything. You can legit learn how to code from, like, you can get basic coding program courses on there for free. So try anything. Read more books. So my goal for 2021 is to read around 20 books this year. And I think it's very achievable because we have so much more time. The traveling time in our morning to the office, cut that by 1 hour at
Yeah.
least. Um, our time, let's say we're not meeting family friends as much anymore, do
And also,
something
if you
else.
think about it, like it's not just the travel time, but also the time which is lost between the time when you reach some destination and you take to settle down.
Mm-hmm.
That also gets consumed in not just the time for travel, but also the time that you take time to settle down and get acquainted with things that you're doing, and then start your day with. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's more than an hour that you spend, man. I mean, everyone's got so much time on the plate now. I think we can make a lot out of it. And if you don't, then, like I said, it's a wartime. So you are going to be the best case. I mean, whatever going to happen next and however it's going to be, you are the one who's going to take care of yourself, nobody else. I feel it that way too. The reason, and I that which is why I got myself into a routine the day things started happening last year, and I pushed myself to do push-ups and uh, every day. I started doing exercise at home. There could be two ways to go about it. One could be that I could be whining about, oh, the gyms are all closed and I can't go there anymore, and kick off the day like that and say nothing's happening. Or I can just start with the push-ups, whatever options that I have at my home, and start, like, in fact, I just made a reel a few days back. I was holding few books and doing calves, doing squats. I mean, I don't have the weights at home, so what's the best case scenario that I can do it with? I got Harry Potter books, which were pretty heavy. At one side, they were
Yeah.
mindset books, and other side, they were Harry Potter books. So I did my squats like those. So I think you can work around things that if you really want to do it. But then again, you have to have an intention of doing it. You have to build that intention. It has to be intentional.
Yeah, it's not easy, man. It's never going to be easy because it's. I think our prior conversation was like it's so much more easier to just sulk in bed and watch TV and Netflix, versus actually get up and do something. And I struggle with that too. Like we all do. Like there are times we just don't want to do anything, and it's so much easier now because we know you get that extra hour in the morning, sleep in. I'm guilty of that too. I'm not gonna lie, but now you have that extra hour. Maybe get up and meditate for a bit. Maybe go for a quick run. Have a good breakfast. Read something in the morning.
Mm.
And you also told me you got resistant bands, which really help working out at home. That's something, and they're cheap and they're actually very useful. I've used them before. They're so useful
Yeah.
for heavy lifting.
Yeah. I mean, the one that I bought for, I think it was for $35 something,
But
and like pretty heavy that you can go along with them. So I think that was one of the best purchases for my fitness point of view. But a lot of exercises you just need to do it with your body weight also. You can do it with your body weight also. Like push-ups is something to be really start somebody can start with. And well, you know what? When I talk about mental health in particular, especially in during these times, there are three components to that which I think you really need to be surrounding yourself with: mind, body, and soul. All three are really really important. So mind is where that you are actually going to put yourself into a reading habit, like you said, that
mm-hmm.
reading a book, or having some motivation built up around it. So like feeding, cultivating your mind, watering it, like you water the plants. The same thing, your mind needs, you know, proper seasons of, uh, s- uh, watering up with the books that you read, the videos that you watch. So put that into the picture. Read at least 10 pages a day, at least 10 pages a day. If you can go ahead with that, like 20 pages a day, you can do that. Do that slowly and gradually. You will really get used to into the routine. It will be difficult earlier if you're not habitual of reading, or else you can start with audiobooks, right? You have to get into yourself into that. Another is body, like we discussed about the physical exercises. You have to go out, you should go out and walk a little, maybe for 30 minutes and come back. Or you can also work out at home, like we discussed about push-ups and all that stuff. And for the soul part, like you said about, meditation, and that also helps in clearing up your mind in a lot of ways. I'm not a meditator. I tried it a lot of times. It doesn't work for me some for some reason. uh, but I think for those who can do it, sure, you should do it. And another thing is on like on the soul side, gratitude is
Yeah.
something that I think we really, really, really need to be focused upon, uh, especially if you are alive. I think this
Yeah.
is this is the
You
best
know,
thing.
so many people lost loved ones here. So many are on ventilators. So many people lost their jobs because of the pandemic. Like I personally made a habit of having a gratitude journal, and I saw a massive difference in that. Like in 10 days,
Yeah.
just write a few things you're grateful for. New like this is the best time to instill new habits. This is also the best time to take opportunity of the changing world. So when I say changing world, I'll give you an example. From ever since the pandemic, everything's going online, from online stores, online shopping, to online courses, classes. Everything is going online because even like schools like full time online now. So one thing I came across, like a really amazing, interesting idea, is that this, and I started doing this too, is that I started learning more digital skills that would help me, and where I can market to others. For example, e-commerce. I just got into it because I noticed everyone. First of all, everyone's buying things online now because you can't physically go to places anymore, and two, because people are at home. This is the most time they're shopping out of impulse. So we're seeing massive increases in online orders. This is why Shopify, for example, Amazon, their stocks are skyrocketing right now. They're doing really well. And this is the highest time people are actually opening online stores as well. So pick up a new skill, look up some courses. How do you open up a new online store? If you don't want to do that, do something else. Like how do you like start recording videos or start providing value to people and put it up on YouTube? Anything, like, it doesn't even have to be that big. It could be something small, but as long as it's keeping you busy, I think that's the best strategy to use going into the new world, especially pertaining to mental health, because you don't want to be ideal. When you're ideal, and you're going to be you're going to have a lot of ideal time, you end up self-sabotaging in areas that you shouldn't. You start thinking very negatively, like, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that. And the moment you start doing something, it clicks instantly, and you don't even realize, but you're improving, and your mental health actually, your any anxiety you have, if you have depression, it alleviates over time. And I've noticed that it's really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about it, Ali, the reason why we also started this podcast is also because we somehow had time in our hand.
Yeah.
And why don't we put it into some productive use? So, which is why we thought, like, why don't we share our views? Why don't we help people who actually, we have been into the same shoes? We have had our own share of mental health issues, and they still come back. I mean, I'm not saying that we are all perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. And so, which is why we are talking about it. And I think just putting it out there, you have to put yourself into things that maybe had been on your back of the mind for a very long time. Now is the time to actually start doing it. And trust me, everyone can take out time.
Yeah.
It's a myth if you think that you don't have time. Well, show me your schedule. Show me.
Yeah.
It's you can't be that busy to
We
do
all have the
anything.
same number of hours, man. It's just how you effectively use them.
Yeah, I still think that I'm not really utilizing my time effectively. I know that I can do better, because everybody in this world has the same number of hours of in a day, and 24 hours, and the way that I'm utilizing is still too low, too less in comparison to somebody else out there.
Hmm.
So I'm not. Still, I have to. So, which is why you have to get into something which is more productive, which helps you grow, mature, and you know, you'll find a difference. You'll find a difference once you put a habit into it.
Yeah, everything starts with the first step, the first push up, the first walk you take. And I'll tell you like what I've been doing in the pandemic. So usually, like, I live in Waterloo, we used to have a 10-person capacity per session in our gyms. The malls were open, so you could shop until 7 p.m. Then they would close. Restaurants would be open, but they would only allow a certain number of people in. Now, since lockdown, everything is closed. So what am I doing after work? I get some time. So like, I have an hour I set to myself where I do the things I thoroughly enjoy. It doesn't even have to be productive. It can be just something like watching um, like some documentary or reading something really interesting, or like just like relaxing, something I really enjoy. And that's something, it can be very selfish as well. Just take 1 hour out, be selfish,
Oh,
and
you have to
just,
be selfish. Yeah.
yes, and just enjoy yourself, like indulge. And after that hour, like, I know, okay, so now I'm kind of re-energized, I feel better. um, Let me see what else I can do. Then I go on and do other things that I find productive and that actually make good use of my time. So I'm reading a book by Jim Edwards on the secrets of copywriting, because I really like copywriting and I want to get better. So I'm trying to do 10 pages a day, like you said, sometimes more, sometimes less. It doesn't have to be perfect, but as long as you're doing something.
Yeah, you're getting
Next,
it
like,
done.
exactly. Next, now, since I can't go to the gym anymore, I go for a walk around the apartment building. It gets kind of cold, so I buckle up, go for 10-15 minutes, come in, feel much better, cook fresh. This is the best time, and I enjoy this because I can make fresh dinner and lunch at home without any problems. Otherwise, I would have to meal prep every week, and that would get annoying because the food goes stale. Now I get to cook a fresh cooked home meal every day, and I enjoy it. So I've noticed that I'm actually enjoying that a lot more. And then, like, obviously there are other things you want to do, like, for example, the podcast we started, right? So that was possible because we have more time. And now I wanted to learn a new skill. You told me about, hey, let's start a podcast. I said, fuck it, let's do it. And we learned as we went. Like, I don't know anything about a podcast, but we learned as we went.
Yeah.
And now we're episode number 5.
Yeah.
So, like, it
Life
could
is
be
an
something
experiment,
similar.
man.
Yeah, man. Like, honestly, and this is so, like, trust me, you're gonna miss the days. Like, I feel like it. Once everything goes back to normal, there are gonna be people that say, "I wish I had more time like I did back in the pandemic."
Yeah,
It's just make the best of it. Honestly, fuck
absolutely.
everything else. Fuck sympathy. Yeah, you're not meeting your friends. Call them if you have to. Just be selfish and enjoy your time.
Yeah, you can always take out time for yourself and to build on your health and grow your mental health. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just the physical side, but the mental health is also very much in need right now, especially during this time. to be really focused on. And I think the time is really interesting, the way how we are surrounded with. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but now more than ever, like I said before, you have to do this. You have to take care of yourself. So think of it as a war zone. Think of it as if you are fighting a invisible enemy, and how would you survive? And that has to be mental survival, not the physical survival. So because physically a lot of people are dying, pandemic or not, no pandemic, people still die. Yes, this is another extra factor why people are dying, but the way that it is affecting our minds is something that we can control only by implementing some mental health you know habits, like we discussed.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, like, and you don't want to be. This is gonna sound kind of rough, but you don't want to be the person after the pandemic you gained 50 pounds and your mental health's down the drain. You want to come out of this better than ever. You want to come out of this strong. And I know it's not fair to say I know people are struggling, and we're struggling too, man. We all are. But taking one small action a day can really make a change, because like like you said, no one's going to take care of you like the way you will. No one's going to be there holding your hand. You have to take the first step. You can like moan about it, you can cry about it, but that's not going to change the real
also
facts.
also sometimes I know, like sometimes some people also do need help. I totally understand, but then you have to ask for it. You really have to ask for it. If you cannot do it on your own, get an accountability partner. Get a friend to
Mm-hmm.
be accountable for your routine. Tell him or her to, uh, schedule a call that we are going to talk in uh, twice a week or thrice a week, or however you want to schedule it, and ask each other, what have you done in terms of your mental health building? May that
Mm-hmm.
be reading a book or anything like that. So just make a partner up with someone. You don't have to do it alone, right?
Yeah,
So that's
especially
something.
now more than ever, and it's easier now more than ever. Just get on a Zoom call. You don't
Yeah,
even have to leave your house.
yeah,
If you want to see like a counselor or a doctor, call them. Don't
yeah,
need to leave. If you want to learn something, don't want to go to school. Learn something on YouTube, online, everything. You
yeah,
can do anything in your bed, literally. You can just learn how to code from the comfort of your bed, and
yeah,
that's just amazing.
yeah. However, you want to consider, I mean, either you want to think that these are challenging times, or you want to think that it's an opportunity for you to take better control of your life and
Mm-hmm.
grow personally. I think it's the way you take it. Either you think it's chaos or you think chaos is a ladder. So
Yeah.
you need to decide whether you want to think of it as a chaos or you want to think of it as a ladder to
Mm-hmm.
outgrow from the situation that you are in.
Exactly, like our buddy Matt McKeever, problems of profit. It could be
Yeah,
either a problem for you, or you can make a profit out of it.
yeah,
And again, like, disclaimer, none of us are perfect. This is just a conversation we're having because we struggle with this too. But the difference is that some people who struggle with this give up, while others see this as an opportunity and they make profits out of it. Like, I've seen people, this during this time, a lot of businesses failed. I agree 100%, but a shit ton of businesses like went through the roof
yeah.
because they pivoted. They saw the opportunity. They actually
Absolutely.
invested in themselves and their like, they actually put time, money, and thought about this, and the businesses are doing well. Like, they
Absolutely.
went online. Most of these places went online and are doing really well.
Yeah. Either you could be scared and hiding from what is happening, or you actually think what you could do
Mm-hmm.
and make something out of that situation. I Either you focus on the situation or you think, how can I make it interesting? How can I, just question it. That's why I said, like in our uh, introduction also, that ask more whys. What is your why? Why do you want to be the kind of a person who is always think about it, like if you're telling your story to someone, to a younger kid later on in life, how are you going to tell your story? What did you do? Did you just wake up in the morning, ate breakfast, went to the work, came
Mm-hmm.
home, slept, or watched movies? Or are you really going to be touching upon how what life taught you, and how did you stand up around life and made the best out of it? Make it interesting. Now is your time more than ever.
Yeah, this is going to be an empty book, and you get to write your story. I mean, I think like you can write your story in any situation when you're born from the day you die. Um, in this case, it rings more true than ever, because now it's more like a detour. You get to choose the direction you're going in.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Just wanted to touch upon this very
Mm-hmm.
important factor that we are all in the same situation, and we've got this. All of us have got same 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way that you want to, schedule it. Bring mental health things that can help you in your mental health. May that be depression. May that be just lazing around and doing nothing, and bringing exercise and building up your mindset to the current situation. And trust me, you'll need it. You have to grow your mindset towards the current situation and be little more strong.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, that's the way ahead.
Yeah, man. And like, some of like our listeners might be thinking we're being a little harsh. I mean, yeah, we kind of are, but that is a reality.
That's the reality.
Um, I get it. It's not easy, but think of it this way: like, if you go to the gym, you can lift like the lightest weights and be comfortable and not grow, or you can like add on some extra plates on there
Absolutely.
and kind of be in pain for just a bit. But
Just a
then
bit.
you,
Or just the
but
last two reps has to be.
just 2 reps till
Yes,
failure,
just
and then
extra reps. If you're doing 10, do 12. Do 12.
12. I
Yeah,
know it's
that's.
not easy. It's not easy, but
I know I miss
afterwards,
that too, man. I mean, I miss the gym like so much, and because of the way that you push harder,
yeah.
in your gym, like with the weights and all that stuff. Yeah, it's okay, but then again, that's something that you can still do with the other things in your life right now. Just push harder, put
Just
a
a
little
bit.
bit of stress.
And
Stress is
it's never
good.
going to be easy. It's
Yeah,
never going to be easy. But
yeah,
I know, but we're going to come out of it alive.
yeah,
At least majority of us, hopefully.
yeah.
Um, and it's going to be okay. It's honestly, humanity has gone through much worse. Like I was reading a documentary, I was watching a documentary about the ice age that wiped out almost all civilization. Like only a very small minority survived because they persevered, they hung on. They moved from places to places when everything was covered in ice.
Right.
This is nothing. Like our a couple of generations ago, the Spanish flu was the biggest devastating pandemic ever.
Yeah,
People went through it. You just hold on. You're gonna make it fine.
absolutely. Well, I think this is what we wanted to share today, and hope you got some value out of it. And pick a book, get to those push-ups, and make it happen. I
Right.
believe in you.
Let's do one thing before we end the call. I'm personally reading. I'm more reading more business books to help me, but I also picked up some books for my mindset. So a couple of books I recommend anyone would be Atomic Habits and The Compound Effect. I think as starting off, these are really good books. I personally really enjoy them. Anything from you, Sahas? Anything you want to share?
I think you have shared two books which are pretty good. I would say Slight Edge talks something similar to what the Compound Effect says, but I think it's pretty. It's a very good book. You should read it, and to build up the mindset of as a fucking shield. David Goggins, can't
David
wait.
Goggins, yeah. If you
Yeah,
guys feel bad, this fucking guy ran a marathon with broken legs. Like,
yeah.
I'm not saying we
Man,
have
this
to
is
do the same
crazy. I
thing, but
think the
it's
audible version is
mhm.
even fucking awesome because he's
Yeah.
speaking. He's not speaking himself, but he's after every chapter, he's discussing with the person who is speaking. Uh,
Hmm.
I think he's also been his coach or something around that. But they're discussing like if he has written a chapter, and then they're discussing like an interview.
Hmm.
What were you going through at that particular time when you wrote this particular paragraph? So I think that's really interesting. The audible is even more interesting, and yeah, that's one of my favorite books. So that will
Hmm.
just build you that kind of a shield of a mindset, and go back again to read it again if you've read it
Yeah.
already.
And
Go
if you
back.
like some person, like take notes, write it down somewhere, and
Yeah,
live by them.
yeah,
So that's our two piece, guys. And before we go, like, best of luck. I know you're listening. I know you're probably upset because who knows, you might be going another curfew, but it will be okay.
Yeah.
We'll make through it.
Yes. All right. I hope you listen to this episode, and we'll come up with a new one. I think we have some guest coming up for that one,
Mhm.
and we'll soon update you around that as well.
Yes. So we actually have some interesting, we have some psychologists coming up to talk about more mental health from their perspective and human behavior. This will be available one in English, and it'll be also available in Hindi and Urdu. So keep in touch. I think you're really going to enjoy that one.
Yeah. Take care, guys. Be safe.